This is Gamer 1745, and we're going to be playing Hearts of Iron here. This is probably from the description, thumbnails, and whatnot. You already knew. Okay, I hope the sound is good. I really do. I've been having sound problems the last few weeks. I think they may be behind me with the latest Windows update. I think something broke something that broke something that I don't know. So, nobody really has said hi yet on the interwebs, so I'm going to wait for a little bit here. Let me look at a few things before I start making an episode here. Okay, we have one more military factory available. Our logistics, okay. Horse transports, we are down. Light artillery, we are down negative. Heavy artillery, we're down negative. Garrison equipment. Field uniforms. Cavalry equipment, which I think we've stopped making entirely. Radio equipment. Support equipment. Recon equipment. Armored recovery, which I don't even think we have basic model 2 build. You know, I don't know that we're going to build any of those. Not maybe a single one of those or new additionally from what we're already building. Hello, Felipe. You're first here, and I hope you can answer a question for me. Is the audio good? I hope it is. I really do. What we're going to actually build is more trains. So we're going to increase the amount of trains. We are currently producing 1.44 weeks. So with that, we'll go up to there. And Singh is here. Yes. Hello, Singh. Also question, is the audio good? Before I start making episodes, I would like to know that. I have been having audio trouble. Oh, I'm doing well, Singh. I don't know that I have, Felipe, but again, nobody's responding to is the audio good. I do really appreciate if you can hear me. I know there is a bit of delay between things here. Okay. I think we have enough of that. Good, thank you. Oh, and Frog Eyes, hello over on Twitch. Good to have you there. Okay, good. Just, I've been having audio problems. Good, good, good. Okay, now I feel much better, much more secure. With that, I'm going to open a Coke. Well, let's make an episode now. Welcome back, fellow Armchair Generals. This is Gamer 1745 here. And this series has always been described as taking a look at the current state of Black Ice. Now, they have released another standard version, because there's both sort of a standard and then there's a work in progress version if you're willing to have an update every 2 or 3 weeks. And maybe sometimes even faster than that to your game. Because I've only been playing this on the weekends for the live audience, I am playing it a lot slower than most people play their game. So I was, again, thank you, whoever it was over on the Discord server for Black Ice, put out a notification / reminder that we wanted to keep our save games. We needed to make a sort of local version of the mod at its current stage, and I did that. So yay, we're continuing this game. But it's always been a look at, and as well as a learning Black Ice as well. As it's changed, there's a lot to learn with Black Ice. If you're looking for a game that you can, you know, get in fast, go, do, and play well, this ain't Black Ice. The first few times. You've got to, when I say a few times, you've got to really sort of learn what you're doing. I hope, although these have been sort of a more of an experimental view, where if you look at some of my stuff for Hearts of Iron 3 Black Ice, those series that are currently out there, I would say it's from an expert player's viewpoint, especially for Germany. So not a know-it-all or perfect player, but from one of the more expert players, because I've played it so much. But so I've been learning a lot, and this is the first, you know, it's been out for a long time, I know, because I played a bunch of different mods between Rage Quit and various other things. Hadn't gotten very deep, and this is the first game that I've really gotten deep to where this has become meaningful, the supply system. And I'm so glad they've finally done this. So glad they've finally done this. Now, I have been informed, and we've only done a very limited work on these, that these are probably a waste. Now, if you watched, I believe it's the last episode, and towards the end of the last episode, again, I learned, and so, oh, these aren't, oh, I think we did it after the save. Or, yes, I think we did it after the save as an experiment. So what, okay, a few things. So, these guys, and the whole reason I have not, and again, how can I say it? I love that they've now implemented the current supply system. It is not perfect. We still don't have supplies. We have supply effects. We don't have actual supplies like being manufactured and delivered. So there is, it's still not perfect, but damn, this is now, in my opinion, better, entirely better than the whole supply system in Hearts of Iron 3. Okay, so where it is a physical thing that you need to manufacture, needs to be transported, but because of the transportation problems, because of all of that, there are some horrific problems. I really wish, you know, what would make Hearts of Iron 3 supply system without maybe a major change in it, as well, if you could create a better AI for handling the supplies, but two, if I could write my own supply orders, manually go in and say, I want to have delivered to this province here X amount of supplies, you know, and I know it's going to be delivered from Berlin, so how far away is it going to take, you know, but that I could manually do that. Now, I know 95% of players wouldn't want to handle that. I get that. That's why it's not in the game. I'll get to the chats in just a minute. Because I think this is important. But now with this, we now have good supply setups. And so I've been doing a few things wrong here. I have not motorization level. We're just going to go to motorization level 1 and see how that affects things. We're going to come over here where we are also having a bit of a supply issue. Oh, this has already been motorized. Good. And we can see here, and these, I believe, are the primary, maybe not exclusive. I'm not sure if it's exclusive, but the, I think it's these transport trucks as opposed to, or no, I think it's the heavy transport trucks. That's what I think that is. So it's not the other transport trucks. So that is one of the things that, like I say, I'm learning. Another thing, boy, I forget who, I should look these things up before there, and I will get to the chat in a minute. These are probably not worth it. Now, the reason I was going in and building these is because I didn't see what else to do. And again, I've learned, and I don't know what the new current state, and Because they can go in and change all these values in black ice. The new current state was, but we're gonna, I have been suggested that we come here and, well, let's come up this way and, no, not naval dockyard. Here, naval base. We build one here. That has been suggested to me. Let's move it to the top. And then I want to also come over here, and I do know that there's a clip. Oh, well, okay, well, no, if it's from here. Okay, no, never mind. I want to come from here, I guess. I want to go from here to... No. There we go. To also put them on a railway link. Okay, let's see. Now we get... Okay, so... Here we go. This is actual proof, in my opinion. You know, everything's my opinion, but I think this is factual. This is an actual proof that these supply bases that are going to, you know, they've done a little bit of work right now on them, will be completed in November 1942, and it's February 42. This port will be completed in April 30th, 1942. I have been informed, and again, I may be wrong, I'm still learning everything here, this turns into a supply base. So how the fuck should building a port, which creates a supply base, should be quicker than building a supply base? Can someone please explain the logic of that to me? Where, even let's forget that this is a port that gets iced over and could be hard. But even if we're talking about the easiest possible place to build a port, a naval base. And yeah, I know, you know, the Americans eventually, you know, the Americans were the superpower in World War II. Changed my mind, but you know, they came up with, you know, floating harbor capabilities. Nobody else on the planet had the practical ability to build those floating harbors. You know, technologically, the Germans could have figured it out. I mean, I don't think they spent any time to try to. The British, yeah, they could have figured it out too, and they may have materially contributed to the thoughts of building the supply bases, you know, the multiple ports. I don't know, because I know the what is it, the Halbuki or whatever, the idea that's sort of crazy, but to build ice aircraft carriers in the with using pykrete, which is ice or water mixed with sawdust and then frozen, that creates a very, very hard material. You'd have to keep it frozen at all times, but and just sort of more of a big floating aircraft carrier, you know, for the covering the mid-Atlantic gap, as opposed to like a fleet carrier. But yeah, the British aren't stupid. I'm sure even the Japanese could have figured it out. Maybe even the Italians could have figured out how to do it. But to industrially, practically do it in amongst a war, there was nobody else capable of doing it at that time. You know, the floating ports. So this tells me, and the reason for, I mean, what is a port? You know, we can discuss all that, and how long should it take to be built. So you should be able to build a supply base at least the same amount of time it takes to build a port. I cannot imagine, and yeah, I can't imagine how that is not a thing. That you could argue that these things should take, you know, 9 months to build, and you can build a port, and which becomes a supply base. Let's check out the chat now after that. Okay, yep. Upgrade coming, a lot of self-propelled artilleries. 109 for most nations. Well, Felipe, I really, quite honestly, only really care if it's World War II stuff. I did see the update coming for War Thunder. It looks like a lot of modern stuff, which is cool, and I don't hate it, and I play it once in a while, but I really don't care unless it's World War II. And I do care a little bit if they shove it into the BRs of the World War II, if it shouldn't be there. No, America is falling apart just fine. Sing, we'll devolve here pretty quickly. And greetings, Toyjet. Good to have you here. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Felipe. I don't know if Sing is going to answer that on Indian street food. Interesting question. No, Singh is in the restaurant business, so if he's still around, he would be the person to ask, and I would be interested to hear that. Yeah, now attacks are based on capturing railways and supply hubs, and one has to be aware of them and where they are on the map. Absolutely, and I totally agreed with Podcasts answering, "Hey, we have infrastructure that equates to railroads here," and in most of Western Europe. And these are actually, there's a lot denser rail. I mean, I'm sure if you captured here, there's still a railway links here and here. You could bomb the bridges out. That's maybe the one thing that we don't have in this game here now with the railways is the ability to bomb major bridges, but and possibly cut down or cut off supply or reduce supply coming across. But getting out into the Soviet Union, getting into North Africa, getting into the wilds, getting into China, wherever, building railways. Now, I would definitely, upgrading railways to me would be a lot easier than building new ones. So, okay, good. So we've now figured out a little bit better for here. Probably so I don't say too loud, or BICE will make it longer to build ports, lol. Well, they might. Now, okay, so the game question comes down to, and that's very good, Frog Eyes, that they just simply change it. You used to, in Hearts of Iron 3, and I think that's been changed with Black Ice, but you used to be able to build things like radars and ports and whatnot in your production queue, because they did not have a construction queue and a like vehicle production queue. It was just the production queue, and then have them in sort of undeployed, and then you could do a naval invasion and then slam down your port. And for the Americans, again, that's realistic. And I also sort of would kind of say it was realistic for just about everybody with radars. Now, because most of the building time is not constructing of the the radar, say at the location. It's building it out of the factories. And for then there was definitely a lead time, but it was also it was also just simply construction priority bits and whatnot. And the main thing that I think it was with Panzeroo, but I'm not sure, it could have been anybody back in those days. Their main argument, well, yeah, you're right, gamer, but the AI won't do that. The AI won't, whether, because I kind of agreed with the lack of mobile ports, except for America. And America, quite honestly, really only did that for the D-Day thing. I mean, they could have done more. I mean, trust me. Now, it might have meant less something else, meaning a choice to be made. but they really could have done more. They just didn't need to do more. So they hadn't done more. But they couldn't, in a practical sense, spam them out everywhere. And trust me, we can look at some of the photos down here. Now, Guadalcanal, I know the guy was really proud at making some of these islands big. These islands are small. It should not be anything this big. They're trying to make too much of a tactical operation out of what here is. But I've seen, one or two photos of the Americans landing supplies here to fight in Guadalcanal, so as to sort of in the sense of not needing to hold the naval base to supply your forces. And I think to a point that sort of work. The problem with that here now is it's turned into a tactical game with too many provinces. I mean, literally, it should be one province. Guadalcanal is not this big, not at all, and it just has more of a famous name than it's a such great strategic point or anything, because any of these other points, it was fighting over an airbase that was being built was a major element of it, because other than the airbase, there's absolutely no reason to hold Guadalcanal, because there is not a significant port on it. Now, they could have built a port, but how long would have that taken, to actually be a proper naval port to run supplies through? Now, again, to give a variance, the Americans were coming up and landing supplies to the beach. So a ship would come from Australia, because I know that's where they would come from. They come from Australia. They would get to the coast, and then they would use the cargo net kind of method and lower supplies down into landing craft. And landing craft would come up onto the beach, open the doors, and then people would haul the stuff off. But they did have some trucks running around. Not many, not a lot, because there wasn't a lot of roads to go very far, but a few trucks here and there is really helpful. Now, the Japanese at first were sort of kind of doing something like that. But because the Americans, I don't think the Japanese were ever able to operate aircraft off of Guadalcanal Air Base. They did operate aircraft off of some of the other locations, but they lost the air war pretty quickly. So what they would do, and so they could not safely in any sort of way bring a ship in here and unload it. There was no practical way they could do it. So what they would do is they'd come down at night with destroyers, and because they were fast and quick, and come into near shore. And then for men, they would lower some boats. If they're sending in, reinforcements, they would lower some, ship's boats and get them ashore in darkness and then get out. For supplies, what they would do is simply throw the supplies over the side. Now, they made sure they would unload the crates partially. They would unload they would put barrels, metal barrels and other things, whether it was going to be liquid or whether it was going to be, like food or something in, not fully load them or load them too much so that they would float. And they would just literally just throw the supplies over the side at night. And generally speaking, the way the tide/current, I'm not sure whether it was so much tide or current or both, would happen, it would be that it would generally float ashore. And then, but not ashore, just sort of generally get to there and be out sort of like in the surf or beyond the surf. And so the Japanese soldiers, basically in daylight, would go out there and try to get as much of the supplies up onto the beach and then under the cover, because they would be air attacked a bit. It's one thing, and it's worth a lot to go and air attack a ship. If you just got soldiers spread out all over the place and some floating, cargo out over the place, yeah, you may fly over it and strafe it a few times and whatnot, but it takes a lot. They're only getting so much fuel, they're only getting so much ammunition and whatnot ashore, and it's probably better to have those aircraft shooting down enemy aircraft than trying to strafe some random guys out on the beach. Now, if there was, like, again, a ship that you could actually sink, that would be worthy of the effort. So you can see the Americans really, I mean, I don't want to downplay and it's growing as time goes on, but the American fighting prowess as well as the American um, skills. We can see in the Pacific campaign from the start the willingness of the Americans to fight to the death. And they do so in places. Now, these are, in some of these cases, particularly Wake Island. I think this is Midway. Here's Wake. In Wake Island, it was, yes, they did capture some of the soldiers, but for the most part, they would fight to the death or until ammunition ran out. Quite honestly, and that's so they would not bonsai charge or fight, stupidly, in the sense of, make suicide charges against enemy positions. And this is why they give up on the Bataan Peninsulas, is basically they've run out of ammunition. So once they run out of ammunition, they surrender that, and they surrender Corregidor, and I think maybe a little bit later, finally, the maybe it was, I don't know if it was before or after Corregidor, the concrete battleship that's still out in the harbor out there. Fort Drum, that's it, Fort Drum, and it literally a sort of battleship that's made out of concrete. Well, there's like a rock island that they pour a bunch of concrete on. So we can see that if you're going to make port, if you land a few divisions here, and you're going to be able to starve them out of supply simply by not capturing a port, you need to have the ability to build a port, okay, or here or wherever. And it shouldn't be something that takes 6 months to a year. Now, it might not be it should be in most cases a drop down flash mob port, but you should be able to build a port that would be able to support a corps or two of soldiers in fighting, where Guadalcanal is more like a division kind of thing, I believe. It wasn't that huge of an operation. So you've got to be able to build a port relatively quickly if you want to simulate World War II historically at all. So yeah, that's that. Probably overlooks it. Yes, good morning, Beam Slam. That is here. It's morning. I know it's not for you, but okay. Well, that's sort of my talk on what we're doing for that. So what I think, let's see. Yeah, I think with both of these, because we're going to stop both of these. This may be a mistake for both of them. The interior one might have been eventually useful. Let's move these to the top as well. That back up to the top just to make sure it's up there. And so priority building on that. Okay, so we're going to see how much we can get supplies out to some of these units now that we have motorized the supply situation. Okay. Into there. These guys are still attacking. Okay, most of them are in pretty bad shape, so you stop attacking. It is winter. Now I really want to get this province so we can link up supply here. We're gonna move you guys. No, we're gonna move you down here. I'm just seeing the red lack of supply here. Oh boy, let's go back to supply hub. I think here we're also going to experiment with going to trucks. I think that's the main one. Because we can get this supply hub up here. We will be doing much better. And get it, we have it obviously, but get it linked up via rails. So these guys are all defending here, hopefully fairly well. You guys attack to the south. Antibiotics. Railway construction speed plus 4%. Supply range up 3%. I like that supply range up, so let's do this as our next research. Now, that province there looks like a good one to maybe. Well, these guys are all attacking there. Maybe that. Not with that. But, right. Okay. Yeah, I think we will. You support the attack. So these guys are now effectively supplying a bit more. These guys are supplying more. Don't know if more internal one. Don't know why Novgorod is not a supply source. Supply capability. It's a fairly decent town, I believe, or city. Okay, Brazil. Oh boy. We're in trouble now. Felipe, Brazil has declared war on us. Oh, let's create a core for you. Well, he may still be around. Don't see him. Let's see. There's good old Seth. I think he may be still commanding the HQ here. Yeah, so where, okay. No, I don't want you to go there. There we go. Join armies, won't have divisions, will be automatic. Okay, I don't want to remove you. What the fuck did I just do? Thought I got you, but... Okay, now. No, I want this. Oh, this guy. Okay. Oh. Unassigned. Yes. Now. Here. What the? So the axis on the offensive on most of the Eastern Front midwinter seems supply lines are pretty good. Well, it varies from place to place. But, oh, pause.
Angetreten.
You don't go anywhere. You. I'm right now pissed. I don't know what I did to make this all happen here. But I'm right now very pissed by it. I don't know if this is just my fault or this UI is kooky that I clicked something that decided to make everybody go everywhere else. I didn't want that. Okay. No, no, I didn't want that. Yeah. Where's Mr. Death Camp? Well, several Mr. Death Camps here, but did I not have him? Den Huber. Use him. This is, I think, where I want. So I think this is Fergus Trooper. No, just not. Because these pictures are, oh, these pictures are so bad. Okay. Now, where is it? Here it is. You joined it. There you go. Yes, I guess we'll keep bullets on. Yeah, well, you see, you got to look here, and this is what is really sort of interesting. Well, with the supplies, these guys are starving for lack of supplies. You see, they're all red. They're literally starving for lack of supplies up here. We can see here that this supply source is trying to supply 53 with just it has 40. And you can see out here these guys are doing pretty bad here. But yes, get back into here. We're fully in supply, so we're actually doing pretty good. And then out here, supply situation is pretty bad. Now, one thing to note, Beam Slam. Well, no, we want to come here. I did this national focus prepare for long winter as opposed to kick in the door. So this lowered my stability, but winter attrition is much less than it would be otherwise. So it's helped that a bit. So keep that in note for if you're thinking that, oh, hey, they're doing better than they would historically, something's wrong. Well, we made other choices. Getting that done. And I've definitely I know talked last weekend about it, that space stability reduced. I don't know why that reduced. I mean, I'm already having stability issues enough. Okay, we are on 42, so let's... Speed, naval base construction speed, that's all pretty good. Okay, so we'll do that. And hello, Arno. No, I started at the normal time. Did you guys change your clocks last week or something? In Europe? I started at 8 a.m. as normal. Okay, we are increasing our factories, and because of supply concerns, I'm looking for my trains. Trains must be up from here, from my engines. Ah, according to my clock, you're 44 minutes late. Oh, did I put it? I think I put it in at 8 a.m. I don't know. I don't know. So we're here. We got, says 7 people watching over on Rumble. Hi guys on Rumble, and says nobody viewing over, even though I'm viewing it back, but nobody viewing over on that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I just did something last night wrong in setting up the time it was going to start. Yeah, I know it doesn't really matter at all, but okay, so we are, okay, we've got him to here now. So what I want to do, and I got to get that railway built. These guys and these guys are going to, no. Oh, they have to go there. They can't. Okay, no, well then you guys stop your attack. Stop. We can get attacked from that. I thought I could get across there. Can't. Gotta go around. So getting that supply done. That's now focusing 9 and 8. Maybe I should have kept this going here. What are my current heavy trucks like? As in numbers. Okay, we still, I think, have. So, here. We're going to go to truck supply to try to supply that up a bit better. Oh, what's more important is you're here, Arno. That's what's important. Okay, so we can still see these are all red and taking heavy attrition losses. I'm doing this in stages again to sort of learn. So I do know that we can go to more trucks. More trucks. Let's try more trucks. See if that will increase. Oh! We just saw that it took effect. That all went to supply here. So 18, 20. Okay, so now we're gonna give this a little bit of time. Okay, well, we're gonna still give this a little bit of time to get our organization up before we renew our offensive. So we've gone from starving, literally, to that. Yes, Arno is now over on YouTube. And so I am learning this game here, and you're watching me learn. Okay, now here we are. Nope, nope, you're not there yet. These guys are barely surviving. Here, we're just going to see about going to level 1. See if that will help out here enough. Yes, it did. Okay. And we have a free port, or free industrial capability of just 1 here. Let's... well, we got quite a few convoys, so I'm not that worried. Order a battle and find it slightly better than Panzer Corps 2 in some aspects. Another story. It's 50 to 60. Oh, hey, yeah. Well, if it's on sale now, Order of Battle is great. I have all but one of the DLCs. And everybody watching out there, disclaimer, I am a paid shill for Slytherin and Matrix. So just so you know that, I am a paid shill for them. I'm talking literally. Though I'm not being paid right now by them. They pay for when I'm on their channel. But so that aside, Order of Battle, if you can get it for some of the consoles, or I don't know which ones. I don't play consoles, so I don't keep that in my head. But if you do consoles, you can get Order of Battle for consoles. But Order of Battle, the base sort of game, training scenarios or whatever, is free, and the first scenario, I believe it is, for all of the DLCs is free. So if you want to try it out to see if you like it, go for it on Order of Battle. So please check that out. It is a good game. Right now, between Panzer Corps 1 and Order of Battle, they're very, very similar. There are some aspects I think are better with Order of Battle. Some aspects I think are better with Panzer Corps. Panzer Corps 2, I think, and I'm going to disagree. Now, if you talk slightly better in some aspects, yes. In a few aspects, even Panzer Corps 2, it may be. But overall, I think Panzer Corps 2 is a better game. But Panzer Corps at this time is only a German playable side focus. They were working on, until there were some other problems. Won't go into those because I'm not really sure exactly what to say about them. As being what the exact truth is, I don't know. So I'm not going to go there. If you want to try to figure it, you look it up, you can. But they were sort of working on an Allied side version of it, but that got put on hold. So Panzer Corps. So if you want to play from the Ally side, you can really only do it with Order of Battle in that sort of scape of things. So yes, I recommend it. Wait, well, okay, we're getting back organization with our supply, and then we're going to try to bust into things. Okay, looks like we're doing okay-ish here. And if it's on 50 to 60% on sale on Steam, it's a great time to get it. before they get too much in the way of units coming in here. Let's hit them. We may not need to continue building that fort. Yes, there is Pacific campaign in order of battle, again from both sides. Like you can play the Pearl Harbor either as the attacking from Japan, or you can play it, and they have two different scenarios, not just the same scenario. It's a different scenario because it's a different sort of goals and objectives. Or you can play it from the American or Japan, and that's for a lot of things, including Burma. They even have early Soviet versus Japanese, the Khalkhin Gol scenarios there. So they've got a lot of stuff. If you if you like that sort of hex bait, look, I like Axis and Allies. I like War in the East too, and things in between. So it's not like if you want the most detailed, the most sort of historically realistic kind of game. Well, Cairo Conference, Panzer IV ain't it. But if you're looking for now, this is just a spoiling attack, so we're hitting there. We know we're not going to win. Trying to deny reinforcements coming to here. Now it looks like they're heading south with their reinforcements. But there's okay. Well, now that we have a bit more supplies, let's mess with these guys too. How are we doing? Pushed it. We're looking in here. Okay, these guys looks like they are all in bad shape. Let's do there again. Losing. Come on, do better, Maximilian von Welch. Okay, Nibelungen factory works very good. But my real motives, of course, are just to get you guys fun games. I have the addiction. I want to feed the addiction to you guys for wargaming and whatnot. Okay, division training time increased, but production efficiency growth, factory output, factory repair speed. That's all nice. We got enough oil right now, or fuel right now. As we can see, we're actually increasing fuel reserves. Though we could, of course, burn up even more in using fleets and whatnot with fuel, but permanent supply lines. Okay, Soviet Union at war, which grants consumer goods plus 2% planning speed down, railway construction speed 15%, loot force 1, greater winter equipment production. I don't know that we need that. Learn from the Soviets. Western knowledge. Research speed. Just looking around here. Not really using Romania to its. I think we're going to do permanent supply lines. Siege fortified cities. As railway artillery. We don't have railway artillery. But war behind. Let's do that. Hello, Starstreak. I'm doing well. Far left Soviet infrastructure. Okay. We could probably change this. I know that I've done, okay, we've done this one. We could have done 35 days. Kiev, rail, infrastructure. Well, yeah, that may be, because that's just 35. How, I think this is like 99 days. I hope I can cancel. Some of these are uncancelable. I don't know about this one. Well, 48 days. We'll let this finish. It's just 48 days, and then we'll do the other one. And here we go. Not quite universal, but everything but naval. Not that we have zero population problems, but we have much more of an equipment problem than we do population. Uniform factories. More of those. How's your medical yet? No. En route, another 8 days. That's a bad attack, but we're just delaying any movement north. And more factories coming online here, or yeah, that's sort of what's happening. Don't know how useful this will be, but we're going to continue its construction for now. Okay, we've doubled the amount of factories building trains. Well, let's just build, or put, I know I stopped it earlier because I didn't think I was going to need any more of it. But again, I'm learning. Cavalry equipment. There we go. Portable fuel cans. Very good. And that was this one, which fuel capacity is up. Sort of like FM radio. We'll do that. Hey, folk! Better to relocate forts based on supplies, letting lack of troops attrition. Yes, yes. Serious as those is. Hamas. Right. Yeah, well, we've definitely increased our supply capabilities. You weren't here earlier today, I don't think, unless you were silent. So we're trying some new offensive base based on having some of those supplies, particularly. This is just a delaying attack here until we can get up. More reinforcements moving up there. Bring them off fairly well. Okay, new Heinkels have been designed. Let's go to 42. So, we just got these. Guess we'll do that, and we now have more capabilities. Okay. I am slightly worried about my attrition rates of ships, so we are increasing ship production capabilities. And it was the HE-111s that got updated. Are we producing older ones? Probably. Yeah, let's go with I'll get rid of that. Okay. Okay, so we've got here, we are now having a bit of a supply problem, yes, but not as bad as it used to be. That province, or a couple of others, but that we need to take. Oh, they pushed us out of here finally. Okay, well, yeah. I guess that's just a little too far for us. Okay, you guys move there to sort of hold that line. While you still have some supplies. Mexico. Uh-oh, Mexico's in the war. Mexico joins the Allies, yay! Well, you attack there. And if we have to push out here, that's fine. Come on, Guderian, you can do it. You got this. You're Guderian. Okay, gamer, could you not benefit from some battle plans? Yeah, it might. It might be a better idea to. No, I'm focusing too much in on one part of the front here, but still. Okay. See, we're just outside of Moscow here. Let's threaten Moscow some, shall we? Andrei Vasilov. Vasov. Vasov? I don't know. Use names. Not enough vowels in the right spots. What's he famous for? What's he famous for? Can anybody in chat now or later on, you know, when it's posted on an episode, say what Vasilov is famous for? But at that point, we will end this episode. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. See you around next time for more, yes, even more Hearts of Iron. Okay, let's make a save and another episode coming right up. Okay, save game. Nobody has said what he's famous for. Oh, folk got it. Folk got it. Yep. Over on YouTube. Anti-Soviet traitor. Well, yeah. He's anti-Soviet traitor in that he had been a, you know, a Soviet general or whatever and changed his coat, switched sides. That's being a traitor. And I believe basically after being captured and not, you know, defecting and then whatever. But yeah. Yeah. Leader of the PAL is sort of the initials for the what is it, the Russian People's Army or whatever. It looks like PO8 A, sort of kind of the Cyrillic PO8. The British and the some of the occupation troops in the Channel Islands were some of those soldiers, because a lot of them were thought not to be terribly reliable and might defect back to the Soviets. So they tried to find other work for them, you know, other jobs. So some of the occupation troops, don't know how aggressively they would have fought, but occupation troops out on Channel Island were some of those. And the Channel Islanders that were, you know, still there, some were evacuated, but some were still there through the war. Called them Pals of Adolf because it looks like PO8A kind of thing, POA. So Pals of Adolf was a term for them. Good. Somebody else knows something here. Oh, I know, but you guys know a lot of stuff. But... they pushed into here a bit here. So, now we're going to have to 3 whole divisions. And you're just going to support the attack. But by doing that, I'm hoping to, you know, get the AI to spread out its positions. Okay, well, we want to get this town here. So push on that. Oh, we need to start another episode. Yes. Starting to just play because I'm having so much fun. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is, of course, Gamer 1745, and we are playing Hearts of Iron 4's Black Ice. And I want to thank Tim, Strongarm, Niagro, Timothy, Sir Toyjet, Garrett, Marcus, Folk, 3 of those may be still in chat, and, of course, the great Hoffmanator, for your support over on Patreon. But everybody else, you know what, you just lick the like button, see how it tastes this time, and, you know, it really helps. If you post a comment, you can just say hi over on, you know, on the videos, feeds the algorithm, shows engagement. So if you would do that for me, that's all I really ask, is a little bit of engagement. We are trying to cut off Leningrad. I'm going to undo one of you from that attack. I'm going to send you up this way to see if we can drive into there. Reinforcements of the Hungarian type are moving north. Some have fallen back there. Just at the gates of Moscow. At the gates of Moscow. We're not winning the war yet. Okay, these guys here that we need to get. Head north, head north. You head up to there. We take an afternoon off and click the like button on all the videos. We should. Well, I don't know if you need to do that, but just when you see one, it does help if you click that like button, everyone. YouTube is... I believe highly that I am suppressed on YouTube. It's been more than a year, though I think I got both of them. I know I got one of the quote-unquote hate speech thing removed, just because I'm talking about, oh, you know, Nazis and whatnot. And whether it's that or my personal political views, which sometimes I do talk about here, if you guys know, I'm absolutely not a Nazi. More of a conservative libertarian type person, which would be diametrically opposed to Nazis. But so I don't know that it's necessarily so much of, you know, wanting to suppress that, though I can't be sure. I will say Adolf Hitler and Nazi and whatnot. I know a lot of YouTube content creators really dance around that to try not to get slammed by that. But since I focus enough on all of this, I'm just gonna say we're gonna see if we can take Orel and get that supply point back. supply point. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, when I finally actually did get a person using Twitter from YouTube to actually go in and look at the videos, and once I got a person, because it was denied, my appeal was denied through the YouTube system. But when I got a person to look at it, they agreed that no, there's no hate speech or using symbols, because yes, I will. There obviously are swastikas on some videos and things like that. Does definitely happen. But it's not promoting them at all, so I gotta fight for all of the views I can. And I really, I hope I'm entertaining. I know obviously I entertain a few people here. But I hope I'm generally entertaining. But my real mission is education. To teach people the lessons from World War II and whatnot. Because damn it, people, we're facing a... Well, it's not a total war because no one's throwing nukes around. But there have been... Well, there's not been a lot. I mean, there's been some war crimes committed by the Russians. There's not been a lot of... Well, no, I'm changing my mind. Mariupol was destroyed as a city. So there's been some, pretty heavy fighting war. This isn't just, I don't know, some low-level conflict like there had been in the Donbass for a long time. Just sort of skirmishes going on. There's sort of a general war going on, major war going on. Yeah, in Eastern Europe, but still in Europe. And Hamas has always been at war with Israel, people. Don't anybody think any different. But Israel has declared war on Hamas and is going after that. So, lessons from World War II should be paid attention to. All kinds of lessons from World War II should be paid attention to. Okay, we're going to attack here again to pin the forces that are here in there. While some of these forces are moving north, up there. These we're losing, but we're still pushing. Keeping them pinned while we come in here and hopefully get this place taken. So I hope, I know there's just a small audience here. I realize all of that, but I do believe some of my what I have to say is important. Got the F2. Well, let's come over here. Let's click here. Let's click here. Okay. Okay, Spitzen and smoke discharger. I think it might be Schützen. I don't know the correct pronunciation. Or if there's multiple correct, I'm not sure. Did even hear? Need ammunition. We could do that. That's I don't know if it's on another panel. Okay, and smoke dischargers I think are not here. Be over here? Ah, here we are. Okay, advanced tank armor. There we are. Got that, and we got smoke dischargers. Okay, we've got those things going. Little armor design, advanced tank armor. Let's do this and we will spend that. Let's face it, most playing for fun, we are few who are playing to learn something and have fun too, of course. Yeah, well, I know I've sort of abandoned it because it takes a lot of time and I don't know how much time I want to just give away to it, but I really think my Third Reich event mod for Hearts of Iron 3's Black Ice was a very good learning tool. It mostly, shall we say, taught history as opposed to lessons from history, but it mostly taught history. And I really think this was explained to me as sort of a roadmap for players. So if they want to get to winter equipment production, they, know what they need to do to get there. Or whatever it may be. Okay. And I understand that. And that is a very, very legit way of doing this. What I was looking for with Third Reich events, because it obviously doesn't have this, was to put in historical information that would give clues, suggest things to you that about history and what you should pick. My belief is, now and it says there's 14 people between Twitch and YouTube and 4 watching over on Rumble, so there's not a whole lot of people here. I know that. Many more will end up watching this later. I know that because we've been getting about 700-800 people for a lot of these videos. So I know half of them just watch about 5 minutes of the video or whatever out of the hour, but still a bunch do watch this. So different people learn in different ways. But if you look at modern schools, and I don't mean just in the last 20 years, I mean in the last 80 years, not just the modern indoctrination camps that I believe they've become. But you look at the way people have always done in school. So many people will study for the test, will pass the test, and then apparently, if you quiz them on it 3 months later, 4 months later, they don't retain much of it, okay? They learn it for the test. They learn it to pass the course. And I'm sure, maybe they're somewhere in their subconscious. I don't think any of us really knows how that works. I mean, a lot of information is retained there. Why we aren't able to access it more easily, I don't know. And I know I'm going off on a tangent because I know often older people, which may sort of seem me, but it hasn't yet hit me, is sometimes that they have hard time remembering what they did last week, but they remember their school days well, or something like that. I remember it well. Where, after they got out of school, they didn't, but events happening in school and whatnot. Supposedly that's a thing. Again, like I'm, not that old, but um, I might have trouble remembering what I had for breakfast just because I don't really retain that information, but I don't remember the past like super well or whatever. So I don't know why, even though, we can only absorb so much information. I understand that, but I don't know why we aren't able to recall it better. But that's sort of a mystery and whatnot. But so, and different, like I say, different people learn in different methods. But whether you watch a documentary or some other audio visual type thing, or you read a book, whether a digital book or paper, paper thing in your hand, that is a very good way to pass on a lot of information. But so many people don't retain the information. And I use my mother as an example here. My mother was a rather smart woman. And she could make her microwave dance, if you will. She knew all the buttons, knew what they did to setting timers, doing all this stuff. And this was way back when, I would show her how to, more than just, press the play and record, early VCRs, but show her how to program the stuff. And she seemed to get it, but she'd never use it because she couldn't remember it well enough later on. And so I had to, from observing that and some other technical things that she could do, and I got other examples in my life, but of people like this, is the VCR wasn't that important to her. And if I like called, if I was away, this is in the olden days. I know we're talking about olden days here and you don't understand these things. But if I like, oh hell, I thought I was going to be home but I'm out, this is like high school or junior high or whatever, and I'm out with friends and whatnot. And it's going to be later and there's something coming on TV that I wanted to watch, every Thursday night or whatever it might have been. And so, and I was sure I was going to be back, so I didn't, program the VCR. And so I would like call her and go, hey, can you program something or record something for me at 8 o'clock? And she would rather get a timer, set the timer, and have it go ding, and walk in there and push, play and record, put it to the channel and record it. And so she would do that, and have to pay attention to that and do it at the time as opposed to program the VCR. So I took this as she wasn't too stupid. The VCR wasn't that complicated. And compared to what she could do with the microwave and how not that hard it was to program an old VCR timer thing, it wasn't super easy, but I didn't think it was difficult if you just paid half attention to it. She just didn't care enough to retain the information. She just didn't care to learn how to program a VCR. Just was unimportant to her. She could do what she needed to do. So this has made me think, and I know we're off on philosophical things here, that people retain information they find important in their life. So algebra, geometry, and a lot of these other things that we learn in schools that we don't use on a daily basis, we don't retain. That doesn't mean we shouldn't be taught them in schools, because some people will use them. And it's also sort of if you sort of get that information once, it's vaguely there, and it'll be easier later on if you're actually going to need it to sort of figure it out. And so I really came up with Third Reich events, very much partially, and you can look at the original description, and thinking about it and developing it partially just as a fun thing and wanting to mod, as looking at it as an educational tool, is that the player, because they want to play the game, because they're not being forced to learn the thing for a grade, they're not being told they have to do something, but they want to play the game. And to play the game well, to play the game successfully, you needed to read the description of the events, needed to be more complicated than, You know, oh, Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact. What do I have to do? Reassert Eastern claims. Oh, get that. I have to do honest solution. And but really you had to read the sort of kind of things to sort of kind of know what's going on. And it was important to you because you wanted to win the game, because you wanted to play the game. And so that information becomes practically useful to you. It's not just some theoretical usefulness, it is a practical usefulness to you. So you'll have a higher retention. Even I do believe, now I don't know this and don't have studies and didn't do any of that kind of stuff, but I do believe even years later that you hadn't played Hearts of Iron for however long, you hadn't even played World War II games for however long, but if you start talking about Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, and they because of or some of, because I have a whole big thing, reclaiming Sudeten land. It's a whole event chain. I go, oh yeah, and they'll remember, retain not all the details, not all the facts and figures, not trying to say like that, but retain a lot of the message for, the Sudeten Germans and what's going on it, and be able to come back, 10, 20 years later, have, a foundation basis that if they just saw it in a documentary, that was an hour long and it was fun to watch and you just sat there and watched it, didn't even do anything else distracting, you'd retain a bit of it, but you don't retain it, in my opinion, like you do if it's a practical, useful knowledge. And especially if you're not sure what events, what, decisions you're needing to make are, it's not clearly, press this button. Why? Press this button to win the game. Oh, you mean if I press this button, I get to win the game? Well, not quite, but if you don't press this button, you'll lose the game for sure. Oh, okay, so just press this button, and then press this button, and then press this button. And you need to do that to win the game, and it's just, you learn the buttons to press, and you hardly pay attention to what is the first Vienna Award. You just do it because you want to get the fate of Czechoslovakia. So you lose a little bit of that needed retention. Now, this whole style of stuff seems to be very popular with players. I don't know if it, because you could put all of these effects, all of them, over here in the decisions, events and decisions. You could put every last one of them over here, and you wouldn't even necessarily have to go, show what you have to do before. You just have to play it a few times and learn, or watch a YouTube video or whatever and learn, but run through this, and you could do this. You don't, and so is it just the immersion? No, I don't think so. I would like to think that the reason these are so popular is because of the immersion factor, and if you made it immersion over here that popped up, stuff that would equal it. I think, quite honestly, it is sort of laziness of players. But that is where learning and playing the game come in. Now, the other thing is that now with the YouTube video situation and these Let's Plays, I've taken sort of that philosophy, and I know we're way off the game, and I know I really appreciate you guys who like to hang around. Maybe I kill my channel as much by doing this as I do other stuff, but is to where we play the game, you're not sure, and I'm not sure how this is going to come out, so that's sort of interesting. You sort of have the fun of watching somebody play the game, and I know I've sort of stopped playing to go through this, and this is bad for flow. I know that, but I think a few people are interested in it. It's not maybe so great, the retention thing, but it's playing the game, and I do try to keep this flowing a bit more than what I'm doing now. But you get some history talks in it. It isn't just the game. It's history, it's immersion, it's that kind of stuff. And not so much the player gets to, when they play the game, learns the history, but how, in my opinion, Ukraine, which, just for your information, everybody, the Ukraine war is still going on. I know probably everyone forgot about it with what's happening with Gaza and all, with the Hamas massacres of Jewish citizens. But and it's still going on, is very much, in my opinion, very much like Spain. I mean, we are playing out the 1930s. If especially you people in Europe, and I know I have a very high rate or viewership percentage in Europe. You got a lot of Americans and some Asians and other people. I sing for people in Asia. Um, I know it's other parts of the world too, but you people in Europe particularly should be really paying attention that we're sort of like in 1937, 1938 in Europe. I'm not saying in 2 years you're going to have World War II, but I'm also not saying you're not going to be having World War II in 2 or 3 years. And I've now come to the conclusion that we might have a world war without throwing nuclear weapons around. And that was always the thing I grew up with. So you might just want to pay attention with what's going on, and when you get to vote for people, you know, is it going to lead to peace if you keep pumping in weapons and money and munitions into Ukraine? Or is it going to lead to World War II? I don't know. I don't have the answer, because maybe you can bleed Russia white, quote unquote, and that will collapse the Putin regime, and that will end the threat of World War II, or World War III in Europe. We still have China to worry about, but that may do it. Or that may make Putin desperate for something else, and Putin may decide to, I don't know, attack the Baltic states, which, since they're actually NATO members, might get NATO involved. And that would then be general, because maybe Putin doesn't believe NATO will actually do anything about it, but he needs to show strength to his Russian people to keep his regime from collapsing, or so he believes, or something. I'm not saying that that's what, so we might see something that triggers World War III, and so because I'll tell you what, I have a few Ukrainian friends. I talk to them. I'm not going to dox them here. Not many. There's a couple of people I talk to, but one particularly. I am not going to, but if it's talking about a general World War III, or letting Ukraine fall. I'm going to say let Ukraine fall, because it's probably going to fall anyways if we have general World War III. But that doesn't mean I'm like not supportive of Ukraine. I am supportive of Ukraine. It's just, if we knew what the costs were going to be or something, if I knew that answer, what would we sacrifice to not have a truly global scale war again? But maybe not supporting Ukraine would give Putin, we crush Ukraine. Okay, next up, Baltic states, and then that would be World War III. So I can talk about what we might learn and what might happen. I don't know what would happen if this or that did or didn't happen. So now, again, in my opinion, Ukraine's already won the war. Now we just got to find a way to stop the fighting. Yeah, I know they haven't gotten Crimea back and whatnot. I know all of that, but they were trying to take out Kiev and move in, and Ukraine's already sort of won the war. So okay. Let me take a look at the chat after my ranting. Well, memory is sustained by practical use of knowledge, yes. If it's just memory, then it will eventually be replaced by new stuff to remember. Yeah, possibly, but and talking to some older people and some other stuff, they do seem to, late in life, get vivid memories of early parts of their youth. So I don't, not necessarily like young childhood memory so much, but more as like teens and 20s seems to be. So I don't know. Getting a timer to record something when you were out was a tough one. Yeah. So do not be too disheartened about viewership. at the moment because notification. Yeah, okay. And I don't know why it said 10 a.m. Maybe I just clicked it wrong in the morning. Yeah, thank you, Frog Eyes. But um, yeah, and I'm not too terribly disheartened now about the small viewership. I'm just happy you guys want to hang out with me because I do get some decent views later on. And of course, hello, my friend IKB. I probably just clicked something doing it last night and getting stuff ready. Okay, is this the new? No, it is not. Uh, Nazca 41. It is not. This is the previous version, the immediate previous version of Black Ice. I just didn't want to yet start over a new playthrough. So we will be doing more playthroughs with the new stuff eventually. What does that exactly mean, timing? But is something. Yes, Ukraine is not the current thing anymore. Focus on Israel now and obey. Exactly. I agree with that sentiment. I will state firmly that um, I totally feel that Russia's invasion of Ukraine is entirely unjustified. I know there was a coup back whenever. I know that there is a Russian speaking minority, however you want to categorize them, in Ukraine. I know both Ukraine and Russia were rather, and probably still are, rather corrupt states. None of them are like, oh, one's a virtuous state and the other is a terrible state. I don't know that. That because a corrupt democracy isn't necessarily any better than a corrupt dictatorship, people, okay? If you're talking at the levels of corruption. So, oh, but they have voting. Really? Is that all you're going to hang your hat on? Well, with voting, you have a chance for changing government. Yeah, but if everyone's corrupt, it's still not. Yeah. So it's entirely unprovoked. So my sentiments are entirely in Ukraine's favor. I totally support sending some. We've sent some aid to Ukraine. I just think we need to change our tactics on trying to end the war in Ukraine. Um, doesn't mean I think we should cut off all aid. But I just think it's sort of, is one description of a boat is a hole in the water that you pour money into. Now, this was a pleasure boat, somebody owning a private boat just for fun, not like a ship or a utility vehicle or a fishing boat. It just a hole in the water you pour money into. And just pouring more weapons and money into Ukraine, in my opinion, isn't going to change significantly anything. Yeah, it keeps the Ukrainians fighting for a while, and I know we're trying to bring in F-16s, but I don't know that they're going to change things like they think it's going to change. And yeah, Nazca, I might take a look next weekend at some of the new systems, but we will see how that's going on. And I am a big super fan of Zionists, and I like Jewish people. I think Jewish people are great, but that's not the only reasons for why I'm a Zionist fan. And when I say that, it's not just, oh, do I like Jewish people? No, I'm a huge fan of Zionism. An anti-war author, but who focused on war, named Gwen Dyer. I remember his name. I have his book somewhere, and I watched his video series that accompanied the book. The old like PBS stuff, PBS video series and book. And he is called like On War, sort of like, using the Clausewitz title, I believe it's there. But he looked at Israel. This was way back, I think, in the 70s or early 80s. As an example, and everything I've ever looked at Israel and the lessons coming out of the Holocaust, coming out of needing, and the people deciding they needed a state. You know, people may go back and go, oh, they did this, and then those people did this, and this, who was there first? You know, in the 1930s, and I do look at this a bit, and though I never added the text, because that's about the time I stopped actively working on Third Reich events. And I was actually looking at it through a German magazine that was publishing anti-Jewish propaganda about the Jews in Judea at the time, or in Palestine at the time, call it. Back in the 1930s, hey, Holiday Punch. Well, we're talking about all kinds of stuff here. Yes, rails in the Middle East, rails around here. We could go in and critique the rails, because everybody, you can say hi to IKB over on Twitch right now. He is our in-house rail, including military rail and civilian rail expert. He actually works on rails, physically works for a railway company, but he is also very well read and with a pretty decent railway library. And so he has backed me up on a lot of stuff. And we actually have some, if you want to look at some of our, because we did it together, Railway Empire videos in which we play the game together and talk about rails and history and whatever. Great series if you want to have a non-war gaming, non-war gaming series, but where we talk about history and rail and human development and all of that kind of stuff. So very well-read guy, and he is sort of the expert. And I'm not nearly the detailed historian of railway that he is, but I am definitely interested in and a fan on that. But starting out in modern history, not, we can talk about the Jews, way back when the Romans, after Christ, right around 40, 60 AD, they do the final real siege of Jerusalem and take it, and finally put the Roman boot deep and hard. I mean, this is in post-Jesus, deep and hard into Israel and creating. That's when, after that, this taking of and destruction of Jerusalem at that time, that after that is when really the diaspora of the Jews start. I mean, not that it didn't happen before, it did, but that's the big push, was the Roman occupation. Not looking back then, but if we were talking again, and it starts really in the 30s, the Jews from various parts of the world, but the Jews would come in, generally get a front person, an Arab, to buy land. Buy land. So offer, I have money, probably British pounds, but I don't know. I have money. Who wants to sell their land? And so they'd have a front person. So there was no intimidation. There was nothing like that. They would buy up land, whether it be a building in Jerusalem or a bunch of countryside, and they would buy up land. And then, because they sort of go into, and I've talked about this and shown some of the photos of it, then especially in the countryside, they would actually prefab up a bunch of wooden fortifications, put them on trucks at night, drive across the desert or whatever, desert or countryside, maybe I should say, because it wasn't always desert, but drive across the countryside, show up at night, and immediately erect these wooden fortifications and start filling them with dirt, because they were just wooden frame stuff that you need to put dirt inside to stop bullets, because the wood wasn't going to stop bullets. And they would fill it with, try to get, sand, dirt, whatever, sandbags, get that filled up and get fortification, so that hopefully comes the dawn on the land that they bought. Now, again, they had somebody, maybe even a Christian, I don't know, but somebody going around buying the land, so that the person, an Arab, doesn't know that they're selling it to a Jew, but they knew they were selling their land. And they would come in and then occupy this land and then set up a kibbutz, however you pronounce it, there. So they weren't conquering the land, they were coming in and buying it. They weren't politically, because this was still under the British mandate. They weren't politically trying to take it. They were just simply trying to buy land, not using intimidation factors, not using any negative factors, just waving money around and somebody deciding to sell. And they were buying land. And then, starting in the 30s, the Arabs were rioting over this. The Jews were arming themselves up as covertly and as much as they could to protect themselves, and there were literally gunfights. But the Arabs started to riot. Now, the Jews would go into hiding and defend themselves as much as they could during these riots, but the British would have to put down these riots with, gunfire. And so the Arabs were demanding that the British stop allowing Jews to come into Palestine. That's all they were demanding. They weren't, the Jews were just, hey, we want to move here. This is, Palestine mandate. We want to move here, and we'll buy land. We're not stealing anything. We're not stealing a goddamn thing. We're coming in and buying land. Well, World War II breaks out. That sort of stops the Jewish migration because, World War II is going on and whatnot. And even the Arabs realize the British aren't going to put up with us rioting. They'll just come in and get machine guns. They do that in Iraq when Iraq revolt, and they'll just machine gun us down or bomb us down or something. So they sort of pacified during World War II. Well, post World War II, the Jews are trying to come in. Great movie called Exodus, about some of the stuff. The Jews were coming in. The Arabs were demanding the British stop the Jews from coming in and buying land, because the Jews were always able to find somebody to front for them to go around and wave money and buy land. So they were buying land, and the Arabs were now more and more attacking the Jews, and the Jews were defending themselves. Yeah, there were some that were, the Haganah were rather, or was it the Irgun? I think it was the Irgun. There were more terrorists. I forget which one of the two groups. Were a bit more terroristic in their attacks, including on the British. Took out one of the major hotels, Palestine Hotel or whatever, I forget. Did terrorist attacks against the British. So they weren't entirely self-defense, but they were mostly self-defense. And they were there, and they kept buying it up, and the Arabs were demanding to stop Jewish immigration into this territory and from buying the land. Well, eventually this gets to the point that Britain knows that it cannot. The British public opinion at home is that they don't want to see British soldiers dying for desert land anymore. People can talk about modern day, Americans and British dying in Iraq and Afghanistan and whatnot. But it was simpler than that. So this is, post World War II, and a lot of course, Britons had died in World War II and won and whatnot. So just give up and get out. And so that is when the war breaks out. And every single surrounding Arab nation, and plus others even further out, declare war on, or fighting the Jews. And once the Jews get recognition for an independent Judea, and immediately all the Arabs attack, and Israel holds out, and several good movies on that fighting as well. And they hold out and they survive. So I know there's a lot. Oh, and also know, because I know some of the people here, King David Hotel. Thank you, Folk. Folk is well read. The King David Hotel. And I'm very honest about history, and I'll criticize either the Jews or I'll criticize the Americans when they're wrong. I'm not trying to wave one flag and say it's all perfect, but I'm still a very big supporter of Zionism. The Arabs, nations around, call on the Arabs living inside of the territory that Israel controls. Now, there are one or two significant incidents that civilians got killed that looked like a massacre. I don't remember the details. There's a lot of dispute over the details. But as far as I can tell, it wasn't an overall policy from the top of the Israeli government. And I could be proven wrong with that. You want to prove me wrong, that's fine. But there were a few. But all of the Arab nations tell the Arabs to get out of Israel and the Israeli controlled territory, to get out. And they do. They flee. They all believe, the other nations around them, and these people are, that give us a couple of years and we're going to come in and crush the Jews. They just believe that's going to happen. Now, another salient point of this is that, as far as I can tell, all of these Arabs that have left Jewish territory, Jewish controlled territory, we're not at this moment talking about what is currently the West Bank or Gaza, because that was still Arab controlled at the time. All of the Arabs that leave are housed in camps. Okay? They're all housed in camps. They are not allowed to leave the camps in a residential, in a residing sort of manner. They might go, if they're in a camp near Amman, they might go daily out to, a job site or something like that. But they're not allowed to live outside of these camps. And these camps exist in Jordan. These camps exist out in Morocco and everywhere in between. Okay, they get spread everywhere else. They're kept in camps. They're not allowed at that time, or I can't speak to every case in every place, but for the most part, they were not allowed out. They were kept in camps. Not just like, well, oh, but I can rent an apartment over here, or I can buy an apartment over here. No, we won't let you out. They weren't allowed out. They weren't out, whether it was a camp in Iraq, a camp in Egypt, a camp in Tunisia. They weren't allowed out of the camps. They were forced to stay in the camps. And that is a key element. This part gets annexed by Egypt. This part gets annexed by Jordan. So the normal residents of this part of the West Bank get Jordanian citizenship. They're allowed to do whatever they want. The Arabs that fled from in here, that are living here, or fled from here and living here, they still have to stay in camps. They're not given Jordanian citizenship. Back, I believe it's in the 1970s, there is an attempt by the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, to overthrow the Jordanian monarchy. It fails because at one point, I don't know if it's true to this day, but at one point, again, the 70s or the 80s, it is figured that there are more Palestinians in Jordan than there are Jordanians in Jordan. But again, the Palestinians are living in camps. They try to do a coup against the Kingdom of Jordan. Hope I'm getting all the details well enough correct. And it fails. The Jordanians come in and massacre people in large, PLO, Palestinian people, in large batches. I say they're going after the Palestinian militants, but trust me, there's lots and lots of civilians, and who's a militant, and and who's just a young man. And I'm not saying they were pulling women out in large numbers and just killing them or something, but they were in the way, and it was a massacre. They killed thousands, if not tens of thousands of people in these massacres. The Jordanian army just went in and we've had enough of your radicalism, and just go down and shut things out. Now the Palestinians sort of take over large sections of Lebanon, but Lebanon, that's because Lebanon breaks out into a civil war, partially because the Palestinians are there. And so basically there are Arabs living, and there's still to this day large numbers of Arabs, Muslim Arabs, living in Israel that have Israeli citizenship. There are Egyptians here living here. There are Jordanians living here because that's what they had their with their passports would say. This, I think it was 82. I don't know about Gaza, and I'm more fuzzy on Gaza, but I think it was like 82 or 86 or something like that. In 1982 or 86, but sometime in the 80s is finally when because of peace deals that Jordan was working on with Israel, Jordan finally gave up any claim to the West Bank, and all of the residents there were no longer going to be Jordanian citizens. But the Palestinians that living here were still in camps. Now, if they wanted to, at that point, if they wanted to return to, they couldn't, because by that point, Israel had taken the West Bank. But so the Palestinian problem was not caused by Israel. Israel did not mass eject the Arab Muslim population. I'm not saying that they were entirely unhappy to see them leave, but they did not mass eject the population. It was, I believe, mostly Gamal Nasser, but also Hussein of Jordan, and probably everybody else around. I think it's Hussein. I don't know his current father. I forget some of these names. I used to know them all pretty well. That demanded or requested that the Arabs leave Israeli-controlled territory. And ever since that time, ever since, 1947 or whatever, these people have been kept in camps and have not been allowed to integrate into a lot of their local country. Now, I don't know, again, that's for sure, especially, Libya has collapsed, and I don't really know long-term what happened. I do know that they did close down camps that Palestinians were living in places like Algiers and Tunisia, and sent them back east. But I don't know every last detail in every last country. But largely, the Palestinian problem is caused by the Arabs, not by the Arab states around them, not by Israel. Not saying everything, like it did say that there were a few massacres, not saying everything that Israel has ever done is perfect or the best solutions, but they were doing it right and trying to do it right. It is the Palestinian people are being used still to this day as a tool by Arab interests to attack Israel and to attack the West, because Israel is not the threat. They don't, trust me, they don't fucking care about this little strip of land. The people living in Cairo, the people living in Baghdad, people living in Riyadh, wherever you want to care to name, they don't fucking care about this little bit of land. Yeah, I know the Temple Mount / Al-Aqsa Mosque is in Jerusalem. Yeah, okay, but they really don't care. What they care about is Western penetration into what they see as Arab territory, and that is what's going on. So we are just seeing it, and I'll tell you what I think is going to happen, and you can check me up on this in a little while. The Jews, or the Israelis, I should say at this point, drew a little line here and told all the people north of here to evacuate, all the civilians to evacuate. Why did they do that? Well, because they're planning on invading here. Yeah, because they want there. And Hamas, to my understanding, has been putting roadblocks and attempting to keep people from evacuating. I don't know if they've been going so far as to shoot people or anything like that. I just don't know. But because they want to use them as human shields. Now, why do they draw the line, and why do they tell people to go south? Because you can build a rocket and launch it from here to other places. You don't, controlling the north bit is nice, but it's not important. What I think they want to do is get the greater bulk of the civilians out of the north here to minimize casualties, and then they want to sweep down from the north to their line and clear it out. All people that are north of there, they want to gain custody of and see who they are. Oh, this is a grandma. She's in a wheelchair. Okay, fine. oh, this is a young 20-something guy that, oh, he's on our list because we can see he's been photographed. He's Hamas. We want to, put him in a Hamas camp, for them. Sort out the people that are north of this line, but clear it all out of Hamas. That's what I think they want to do. And so everybody in the north half or whatever, north section, go through every single last person that's alive, and try to get all arms caches and whatnot, and then and come down to the line of control, and again sweep down. And then what I think they're going to do is their plan. I don't know. Nobody. I've not talked to any. I only know that I know of one guy who lives in Israel, but I haven't talked to him in 5 years or something. So I hope he's all right. But so I don't know a lot of. So not like there's any inside information that I've got. What I think they're going to do is then tell all the people that went down here, all the civilians, come north. But we're going to check you through. Go through all these people, sort them out. Known terrorists if they, stupid enough to try to come through. 20-something, 30-something men particularly, well, we'll segregate them out before we go through them. Try to do biometric sweep with everybody else. Photograph them, and because Israel has some really high tech gear, in their face, so they, get the details of eye recognition, the blood vessels in your eyes, get fingerprint stuff, get all the people and sort them through north. And then and hopefully get all of the civilians out, and then sweep through to the south. And that way they're hoping to get most all of the Hamas people, if they're quote unquote civilians. And there are civilian people, shall we say, that are, because Hamas is a large organization. It's often talked about, they feed the poor and they do all these other sort of outreach stuff. So not necessarily everybody is an active terrorist gun shooter in Hamas. But the organization at its core is a terrorist organization, whatever. If you're a gangster who also runs a hospital, doesn't mean that you're a good guy. It means you're a gangster who runs a hospital. If you're a terrorist who runs a hospital, well, you're a terrorist still. But sort through sort out who are the Hamas people and get them away from the rest of the population. Control them. And I don't know what their long term, but whether they're going to, because they used to occupy Gaza, people. They used to occupy, and there was a lot of sort of skirmish fightings. They would try to smuggle in weapons, and the Gaza people, or they would throw rocks at the patrolling Israeli units, and all the checkpoints were controlled by Israelis, and there were Israeli military forces occupying Gaza. I think it was the Oslo Accords or one of them that got them to pull out, with the promise of Egypt controlling the south and not letting weapons come in there. Look how well that's worked out. And of course, Israel working to intercept ships that are coming in and search them for weapons. Look how well that's turned out. I mean, they got lots of weapons somehow, so it hasn't been that effective. And I don't know whether it's Egyptian policy or whether it's just the corrupt state of Israel, that whoever you put in charge just gets bribed down here. Or threatened. We know where your family lives. We'll kill you if you notice that there's AKs in the back of this truck or something like that. I don't know, because it could just be threatened. So I think that's what they're going to try to do. Is get the civilians out of one half, fight their way in, control the territory, and then try to get the civilians back to that other half, but filtered through. My estimation. Okay. There's about the same number of Arabs inside Israel than Jews, but they split into political factions or don't care. Many years ago, the first tour I took, package tour of Europe, that was actually run by a British company. So, but it was a tour of Europe, not of Britain. so there were a lot, only about half of the people on the tour were Americans. There was like a couple from India. There was another couple, older couple from Egypt. But there was a couple of, a bit older than I was, but, you know, late 20s, maybe early 30s women. I talked to them a little bit. They were teachers in Israel, and this was before the Intifada, the uprisings going on, that were Arabs, and Muslim Arab women. And I asked them, oh, they said, oh, absolutely. It's, you know, I asked them, oh, I asked them about, be teaching. Oh, absolutely. We're second class citizens, and absolutely we are not given the same, by the government, the same budgets per student and whatnot. Absolutely. But they described themselves as Israelis. Okay. Now this, again, before the uprisings, before whatever, these were young women that did not dress in an Arabic fashion. Now, they didn't show like lots of skin or anything like that, but they were young, late 20s, early 30s, two women traveling alone, with no male chaperones through Europe. They were fairly westernized, if you will. And they spoke English. All the people on the tour spoke English. There was also like a few people from Brazil and there are a bunch of Australians on the tour. So it was a very sort of eclectic group going around there. But so I talked to some of these different people, and like the couple from Egypt, they were a little disappointed in the tour because it was always going to old places, like Colosseum in Rome and whatnot, and where they wanted to see the new modern stuff of like airports and other new modern buildings, that because they had seen enough old stuff in Egypt. So different sort of aspects of wanting to see Europe. And so they described themselves as Israelis, not as Palestinians. I asked them that specifically. And, this was an American early 20-somethings, guy traveling around Europe. So I don't think that they thought, threat from, some sort of informant or something. And no, they clearly described themselves as Israelis, not as Palestinians or whatever else. So there's a lot of Arabs that look outside of Israel and go, yeah, being a second-class citizen here is a lot better than being a first-class citizen there, wherever there would be. So there's a lot that go, yeah, this ain't so bad, and the world isn't. Nobody, well, I don't know, maybe now with what's going on in Israel, a lot of people would watch. But I guess we devolved into a modern talk on things, so I guess we'll end that here. I hope it was informative as well as entertaining. And if you want to dispute, I'm sure I got some details wrong and you want to correct those below, that's fine. If you want to dispute some of my overall narrative, go ahead. Just please post some sort of facts or whatever to dispute them. But like I say, I am a big Zionist. I support Israel's right to exist. Now, that doesn't mean being a big Zionist doesn't mean that endless amounts of American budget should be, poured into Israel forever. I'm starting to think that Israel should be able to stand on its own by now without sending any more, monetary aid. I mean, I'll sell them weapons and maybe a bit higher tech than I would sell to other countries. Not as necessarily as high tech as to some of the NATO nations, but I'd sell them reasonably high tech weapons. But I'm sort of getting to the opinion of stopping the aid spigot, free money or free whatever, to Israel. I think they should be able to stand on their own by now. Some point they've got to. They can't forever. Now, I'm not saying that they, if somebody's going to offer them money, they shouldn't take it. But I'm just saying I don't know that we should keep sending them money. But that doesn't change my general personal support for Israel. So, yeah. Thanks, everyone. See you next time for more, yes, even more actual Hearts of Iron playing. Okay, let's save this again, and let's get back to playing. No, save. But we're looking at history, and understanding history, I think, is an important thing because You may not care about politics, but politics cares about you. All right. Welcome to the winter battle for Leningrad. Smart thing to do. Attack in winter. That's always a good plan, right, guys? Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. This, of course, is Gamer 1745, and we're playing Black Ice, and I am trying to see if we can cut off Leningrad to then storm in and take it. And I'm doing the stupid thing and attacking in winter. If I'd known some of the lessons that I know now, which we examined in a couple episodes ago, I would not be doing this because I think I would have taken it in good weather. You join that, Jack. Just one division. Just making sure that there's some pressure on them while these guys race. Well, they're supposed to be racing. Oh, you probably don't have enough trucks or something. No, I got those trucks. Oh, I got enough trucks. I don't know why they're not moving faster. I don't know. They're going pretty quick though. So you stop your push. There we go, just defend, because there's just a little bit too much to handle there. They're pretty badly organized. They attack. And these guys attack. Okay, Panzer III and Panzer IV superstructures. Don't eat the horses just yet. Yeah. I hope to not be in that bad of a situation where we eat the horses, though I think probably some of the stuff was pretty bad there for a while. Yes, that is. Okay, 42. Do we want to do this yet? Factory output. Well, this increases factory output. Chemical industry. Lack of resource penalties, which I don't know that we're really lacking any resource, but supply and controlled states and core states is okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Let's, since we just talked about it, okay, we have a positive balance on all resources. That is good. Oh, why are we attacking? Oh, that's the Italians are attacking. When did the Italians freaking show up? You guys just go back to the defensive because they're attacking you and you need to defend better. You push into there. I want to get that supply hub. Deny it to the Soviets. We got still to the north there. Oh, goody. Well, we'll wait till a few more units get there. This is still, quite honestly, the key position, so let's see if we can break into there. You again go north. I know you're not well organized, but maybe if this collapses fast enough. Improved infantry anti-tank weapons. Okay, well. Yeah, we'll do this. Come on, Guderian, take that province, and then we've got them cut. All we have to do then is hold it. They snuck another division in there. That's sort of what this is, the problem of constantly being able to send in reinforcements, and why the cutoff move. Go. Gotta look at some of the other places. I know I get focused. When I actually like to play on my own, I just go really slowly. If you think this is slow, wait until you see what I would really play like. Okay, they're counterattacking there. We got some units defending. Oh, they're retreating. Okay, I know it's sort of a bridge too far or whatever out there, but if we get this supply point, the rail will link up and we'll like that really well. Okay. But what we can do here is attack 2 divisions. We'll pin them in place. Hopefully they're focusing more on this possible being cut off and sending in reinforcements there, not up to Orel as much as, you know, they're sending in some, but that's we're up to 3 divisions. And then the Hussars. I was going to wait for this one more division to get there, but it seemed like it's taken forever. I wanted to stop reinforcements getting there. I know they may be coming from up north too, but okay, you support the attack that way. Yeah, the problem with attacking north is they're attacking south right here, and I'm just a bit weak on counterattacking forces, but you're not wrong, IKB. I'm just hoping that they collapse soon enough that some of these forces actually get in and occupy. In my opinion, some of these battles, especially battles like this up here, just take too long, especially for not having any defensive particularities. You know, meaning we're not coming across the river, we're not looking at any fortifications or urban areas. I think some of them just take too long to be decided, and too easy for them to reinforce. Division there. How many fighters and cast do you have in the north? Okay, the problem I've been facing here is the inability to control the air. We do have some cast, but it's the problem is, do I send it in without controlling the air? I just don't remember from history any battles taking this long without a fortification / siege factor. So you know, I don't know. And we are still rather negative on fighters. It's just other things. We were down, well, only down to 46 at the moment. But still, we're losing enough. In the armored division. You got a good armored division. Put it into the front. Smash them. Let's go down here and see how we're doing. Okay. Get back into that fight. You guys go back into that attack. You two, yeah. Counter attack there. Well, they should collect. Now here I could understand a bit more. City fighting, whether we look at Stalingrad as sort of the ultimate of it, or some of the other battles of Berlin even, you know, that can take a while if you... Okay, so you get reorganized now, you head back north to defend. We might actually get this, I don't know. These guys are losing, but they're taking up a lot of troops. We've got them coming in to occupy there, or attack any troops moving through that province. They're retreating out of here. These guys are retreating there. Just the division that way. You guys can head back north. We no longer get the effects of winter heating. I think that's a negative thing that we lost. use fuel or whatever. I don't know. Oh shit, you guys have stopped attacking. Okay. Uh-huh. Support that. That's the main job you have. You support that. Just to keep them from getting reinforcements in here, because they're now down to one garrison division who's about ready to collapse, and I'm hoping these guys move in fast. You get back in unorganized, but it's nice and just get troops in there. Hold it. That's what you need to do. Okay. They're down to 2 divisions, both looking near to collapse. Well, let's take a look around the map here. Okay, Italy is holding out in North Africa. That is good. Oh, wow! Italy has retaken Sardinia and Corsica. They had lost both of those earlier on. They've retaken that. I guess the British just, like, abandoned it or something? I don't know, because I figured if you kept enough forces there, they probably couldn't have taken it. Well, obviously, if enough, whatever that means, but even just a reasonable amount, I would have figured they would have been able to hold there. Japanese are doing fairly decent here. Taking out the Philippines. Controlling much of China. I got a bunch of New Guinea here. All right. Okay, Japan's doing okay. Italy's doing okay. Especially for no help from Germany for the African War. Let's see, there's a couple of airports closer will help with efficiency. Yeah, that might do it. Hello, Polat 01, how you doing? Trying to hilarious how incapable Italy is to hold. Yeah. But that's sort of historical. Italy couldn't really hold out here from the British. I mean, like, Italy was about ready to lose here when Rommel shows up. So it was only really because they the British outraced their supply lines. Did they really get? Okay, we're getting a little too much repair. Let's build some more military factories. Okay, let's see. We're sort of kind of building a bit in the east. Not too far east, but increase our production capabilities. So I don't know that that's terribly unhistorical, so yeah. It looks like we might actually do this, because it looks like they're retreating out. But just to sort of make sure, you're going to attack north into that. Delay any movement. You're going to head back north there to hold the flank. Once they collapse, I don't know if anybody's about ready to occupy that, but north along that to delay whatever movements here are happening. That just about collapsed there. There we go. Now we got to do is get in there. Use stuff. Just you. You defend against any possible attacks. Some of these are much closer to getting in and occupying it. I don't know. Maybe I made a mistake with that. Closest one to occupy. Well, that works like that, right to occupy it. Oh, you're now coming in there. No, 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 no. Delay, delay, delay. Down here. Oh, good. We made it into Orel. Good. That. Okay, we have 15 days remaining to get the railway back into proper supply, and then we'll have that as a supply source right up on the front. They're almost in. We've got to hold it once we get there, but that's the key to getting Leningrad. Oh, there we go. We're in. We're defending. How does your speed of occupation compare to original history? Well, we're doing pretty good. We sort of lucked out and got Crimea without any resistance. So that, then I was able to jump over here without any resistance. So I got down here. We started late. And one big thing different, and I know some of the people who've been watching a little closer, but I guess you haven't. One big thing different than history is I did the prepare for long winter war. So I have less negative winter effects than I might otherwise. So I'm able to hold in most places because there's Moscow, and we're almost into spring here, and they weren't able to push us back. I mean, little bits here and there. But we're doing pretty good. We're going to move the infantry division up. Now we're going to move the army division back. So yeah, we're doing pretty good. So some of it maybe just the AI ain't so great. Some of it maybe other things, but okay, got the cavalry division there. That division's already been pushed out. But we're holding at the moment well enough. These guys will be there soon. Them even sooner. That's all we have to do is cut that battlefield support. Okay, so we're looking at doctrines 42. Keep white bombing. Ground support, that would be good. No, I'd rather do this. No, we're not using. Okay, yeah, we'll use that up. We're not using air much or ground support air because we just don't control enough of the air. And I had so much. Wait, let's take a look at our naval operations. Oh, got 4 convoys there, 3 convoys there. Ooh, lots of action out there. Mexican convoy, whatever they were doing out there, I don't know. British. More British. Those. Another Mexican. A few more British on the Mid-Atlantic Gap. Newfoundland. We're doing pretty good with our subs. So if I'd started the campaign earlier, I think I would be deeper in. Part of what delayed the start of Barbarossa by about 3 months was doing the long winter war element. Okay, well, now we're going to attack north into here because you can't just keep swapping in and out divisions. I think we'll hold here. I know it's not great. They've got some advantages, but we're getting more reinforcements moving up. This will be finished on April 30th, so the end of this month we'll have the supply point closer. We got the rail built. They stopped counterattacking, very nice. Nope, they did not join. They're in their own private war. They actually have embargoes and whatnot against us. They sort of went off the rails from history, but they're in their own private war with the Soviets and actually doing fairly well, as you can see, but yeah, they didn't join the Axis. Now we have enough divisions here, so let's send one of them to join this combat there. So we're pressing on them from multiple sides. Let's look down at Orel. We're still holding out on Orel. Good. Let's put our supply situation. Okay, how many more days to that? 11 days. Okay. This is going slow because I'm going slow. Okay, well, our front line's looking pretty good here. Okay, guys, all of you come up to here. Well, actually just come to first. Well, I'm not sure what constitutes joining the Axis or not. I think they did join the second anti-Comintern pact, but I could be wrong on that. Maybe you know for sure, Beamslam. I don't know. It's been a long time since I looked at that. But they allowed German troops in and all that kind of stuff where this won't. So, I mean, I get your point, but they didn't declare war on the Americans, but I'm not sure if they declared war on the British or not. Okay, stop your attack. Stop your attack. Stop your attack. We're gonna wait until we get this built. So April 30th, we'll get that built. And that should give us a lot more supply closer here. Maybe supplying to these people a lot better. And unless they're doing air supply, I think they're completely cut off from supply now, so they'll start to eat themselves. Now here we're also going to wait until this railway is functional again. 9 days. That'll get us supply into here. Will be much better. And then what I'm going to see about is if I can take this province here, and that way we can maybe pocket these divisions here. Italians are attacking again. Well, good for you guys. Yeah, I know they call it the continuation war, and they made the right choices looking back at it, but it really could have gone bad for them with the choices that they did make. They could have been aggressive up at, gone beyond their original borders and done something like this and cut the rail links off. And I don't quite know how much Soviet forces were facing up here, but had they pushed hard from here, maybe they could have taken, in conjunction with the Germans. And this is one thing I really don't know, is how much of the siege of Leningrad happened because Finns refused to leave their former borders versus how much the Germans just didn't want to go in. That's an interesting question in my mind. So, and if Leningrad falls early enough, even in 1941, if Leningrad falls in 1941, does that mean there's a domino effect and the Soviet Union falls? Again, I know people like Beamslam who've listened to me prattle on a lot about history. I have some maxims. Warfare is a political act. Politics is perception. We know Vassilov up here, is commanding. He's a Soviet general who turns his coat and leads the anti-Soviet Russian forces. Well, if he knew the Soviet Union was going to win, should he have just remained a prisoner of war? Now, maybe he really was an anti-Soviet, say. And even if you're going to lose, it's better to fight the fight. Now, why would he have been a Soviet general? Well, maybe he had a change of heart, even before the war, but you're sort of stuck with the show trials and going on and executing a lot of generals, so he's afraid for his life, and maybe that turns him into if not an anti-Soviet, an anti-Stalinist. Maybe there is a true moral, I'm going to do the right thing, even if I think Germany's going to lose, because somebody needs to stand up to this evil of Stalin. Even if Hitler's evil, I'm going to stand up to it, and I'm going to to fight. That could be. I don't know his actual reasoning versus whatever justification he might have self-justified. Because some people really would stand on principle. Now, would they have been that high up in the system and then have those principles? But sometimes you may be thinking that, because this was the first time, communism is being tried. Now, we all know communism doesn't work. We all know communism has killed conservatively 100 million people. We all know the communist drive, the communist propaganda, because they like to use propaganda that filters into Western thought. They like to say, religion has killed more people in wars than anything else. Not anymore. And if you include non-wars, communism has killed more than all religious wars put together. So, throughout the known history of mankind of religious-based wars, communism has killed more in just 100 years. So yes, communism is effective at killing human beings. That's for sure. So, but, maybe you believe that the Tsar, for whatever reasons, and there may be very, very good reasons to believe that the Tsars were evil and the whole thing needed to be destroyed. And, hey, this communism sounds good, and so we're trying it out. And maybe he goes, oh, shit, this is terrible. And so, there very well could be people that turn their coat for pure moralistic reasons. And we definitely see people like Canaris, who does help the Germans, but he's an anti-Nazi. We do see Bonhoeffer, who is sort of being protected by Canaris, but is working within the German system, that is eventually killed. From the Confessing Church. Bonhoeffer, look him up. Important person. So we do see some of these people sort of working inside the system that are against the system, that are truly, like Bonhoeffer is truly a moral person, as far as I can tell, not an opportunist. So if you see defeat after defeat after defeat, I can see a demoralization at all levels of the Soviet military, as well as the Soviet society that's supporting the war. So if Leningrad goes down, especially early enough before, winter sets in, the first winter here, and I just, quite honestly, I'm not well enough informed, because I don't know, and I don't know what historian, publicly published, how strong the defenses were, which probably could have been rather strong, but it was a while before the Soviets, or before the Finns get into the war. The Soviets very well may have moved a lot of forces, south of Leningrad, and not saying it would just be a walk in the park, or, kick the door in and everything's going to collapse. But had the Finns been as aggressive as they were aggressive in their defense in the Winter War. They would attack a lot. Had they been that offensively minded, pushing in, could they have collapsed? I don't know. And even all these troops. Well, hey, you go and you cut them off. They sometimes large groups of troops surrender, like we see, going on down here to the Germans. So maybe you cut them off and they just all surrender because, hey, a Finnish prison camp may sound a lot better than being in the Soviet army. It may be safer to be in a Finnish prison camp than have the commissars around. So, even with that collapse, might the Moscow government collapse as Stalin decides to move it, somewhere east, very far east, or just to Tula, wherever Tula is. It's sort of out here somewhere. I sort of know my geography. Where's Tula? There's Gorky. Oh no, Tula's down here. Maybe I was thinking of Gorky. Move it, somewhere to the east. Move the capital or something, and then that collapses the whole city. We don't know, because there could have been a collapse. Now, if you take Leningrad in 43 or something, well, that's after a long siege and a long battle, and they finally win it. Sure, that probably won't have the same effect. So, that sort of perception effect. And so if you look at it that way, we don't know. And so to go into a war with a great power like the Soviet Union, and play this sort of, well, we'll just go back to our boundaries. Now, maybe Mannerheim, well, maybe some time traveler came back and told them, what to do. But maybe just Mannerheim was watching to see really if there is success and then grab off, because it probably strategically would have been good to, call and have the Finnish border down here and have all of this Finland, and I don't know that they would have objected, but I think they were just half-hearted in their attack. Well, the Finns held the northern perimeter but didn't want to participate directly in the attack on Leningrad. It was beyond their political... Yes, it was. But is that... Stalingrad. Okay, yes. Stalingrad is over here on the Is this the Vistula? I forget. But yeah, it's over here. So we're quite a ways from it. I mean, we're just outside of Moscow here. No, here. We're, well, we're one province away in 2 places from Moscow. Could I push in there? I'm just worried about my supply, quite honestly, and it's been winter, so it hasn't necessarily been a good time. So, yeah, I see now you want me to rush it. Okay. I would file, well, yes. We can talk about the modern ideologies as taking place of religion. But the people who say that they want to talk about Islam for fighting Christianity or Protestants fighting Catholics or whatever. I get your point, IKB. So so they want to the people that want to destroy Western civilization, and then multiple people that want to, multiple ideologies want to destroy Western civilization. I've been fighting that much of my life, but losing. I always seem to pick the losing sides, but whatever. The Finns went on 2-front continuation offensive, so they probably didn't have the strength to push into Leningrad summer 41. Well, to the best of my knowledge, the Finns never pushed past, or even try to push past, their original borders with the Soviet Union. I say that because they never had borders with Russia, not in the modern sense. I think it was Swedish territory. I don't think there was a Finland as a country prior. But, so... Rush Moscow. Well, we may... See, part of the problem is... Oh, no, this isn't... Oh, no, this is fortified here. Pillbox defense. We got some pillbox defenses here, so... And let's look at our supply situation. See, we're really pushing that supply here. What we got to do is we got to get this supply up here going, and this is 5 days. That will relieve some of the supply. Mm-hmm. 4 days now, yes. The 30th of April we get the port, so we're waiting. We're holding here. Days. Okay, if you're sure that they did, because I didn't think they did. I thought, and again, if you know, Beam Slam, but I thought they just pushed to their borders and then allowed the Germans up in the north to push past the borders, but they didn't. That's my understanding of the situation. So that they up in here, they allowed the Germans forces to come in and push as deep as they would, or as they could, but the Finns would not push past it. That's my understanding, but I very well could be wrong. I'm not saying I know for a fact, because it's been a long time since I've looked that up. What the hell? What the hell's going on? Oh god, no, I didn't want you to go up there and click something wrong. I wanted you to go here. I still clicked on there when I clicked up there. I didn't mean to. Finland had about 15% of their population in the army at one point during the continuation. Might be wrong. Oh yeah, that sounds about right. If I was a small country, I'd probably get 15%. You know, the fit male population. Now I don't know how much of that is necessarily at the front at any one time. And very well, that might include reserve units. You know, guys working in the factory that if there's a big offensive, they'll stop the factory work and, you know, take the train to the front lines or something. Two days. I want to see how this changes. They're counterattacking here. Counterattacking down here. Looks like they're doing too well. So let's no. You go up and join the defense there. No, there's a general sort of push. Okay, you head out that. Come on. Gotta get the supplies here. I know you're not really starving for supplies badly, but okay. Go to the north, hold the north before we go up there. Why is it no supply connection from the capital? Oh, well, we got the railway here. Oh, well. I don't understand what's going on. Looks like a supply connection to me. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so now we've got 40 units of supply coming in and needing 43. But, and this is supplying 25. So we've gotten that a lot better there. A lot better. The Russians are doing a spring offensive, and so we're actually doing fairly well holding this up here. Let's push back over here. Let's send in some Hungarians and some SS guys to counterattack there. And let's move the armor unit down there. Hopefully hold there. Let's send these 2 tank units here to counter push from there. And these guys are being pushed back across the river. Well, I expected that for some time. If they start falling, I don't want to get cut off. The Soviets push. The Sire River quite long past the border in the north. They also reach around some points of fewer forces, 5 divisions now. Oh, Russia's, there were 4 divisions west of the river, north, I believe. Okay. They're pushing hard here and hard here. Send 2 divisions in there just to, and a Hungarian division. I do not want to lose that. We've still yet to get this port done. It won't be till the 30th, so we've got a few more days. We're going to push a couple of divisions that way. These part of these forces. Basic uniform factories, very good. Offensive is mainly German Mountain Corps. Yes, mountain troops were. Dietl and Corps were grouped were up there along the north in Murmansk. Okay, uniform factories. That was here, I believe we just got those. Let's take a look here now. What to research? What to research? Just about everything but naval is open to us, but I want to increase either supply or production, particularly. That is just a long ways away. I think we ought to wait, because we look here and it's basically a year away, and we might as well wait and then not have it a year and get other things done in the meantime. Reduce division attrition. Yeah, let's do that. More efficiency in production. Ah. Interesting, Beam Slam. Interesting. Yeah, their offensive is going hard on us. I don't think we have a chance to hold, but it is going to be a close thing, I think. Let's look down here in all right. Okay, that's holding good. Okay, well, we're going to take Arno's idea here, and we're going to lurch forward with these forces. That may go, oh, hey, we need to, you know, shift forces to somewhere else. Try to handle that. You can support that. Support that attack. You add to the northern attack up there. One Hungarian division left there. Well, good for you guys. Hopefully we turn some of these guys around fairly quickly once they retreat out. Support that attack, and you guys can just generally join it. Oh, you guys attacking this. You guys can support that. I'm seeing they're having much heavier attrition, I think, now because I've taken our rail because they don't have supply in the local area. It looks like we've turned it around a little bit up here in the north. We're defending better. Igor. Sorry, I'm butchering that, don't mean to. Change something I remember 2 years ago. It was practically impossible to advance the... Yes, they did. They changed a whole hell of a lot. That's 2 years ago when I rage quit because you couldn't. It is so much better. This is one version of Go's BICE, Black Ice, because I started it a while ago. They do have a newer version out that they made significant changes. But yeah, it is much, much better than it was. With the railways, they've embraced the railways as being a limiting factor, and I'm having severe supply problems because of some of that. But it is much, much better. Small summit, yeah. Well, good the people are remembered, I guess. You guys back here with the armored division supporting you. Move there too. Wow, these Hungarians are holding out manfully. They're about ready to collapse, but up here looks like we've got this held. I don't think they'll be able to come deep into me because it'll take forever to get across that river, and I'll probably be able to turn some of these forces around and push back. No problem, I understood. More factories getting done. Well, I know we trains we need are still not, well, we're about keeping even to our losses. I don't know how we got cavalry equipment, uniforms. I don't know what's most crippling, but let's go for some more artillery. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Light artillery. Here we go. Another factory of light artillery. Okay, they pushed here, but they stopped coming across that river probably because we are counterattacking here. So I think we're good. I think we're going to survive the spring Soviet offensive in good shape. Uh-oh, we got pushed back here. Or did we? I don't know. You come up to there. You guys can head back up to there. You can counterattack along with one of the Romanian divisions there. You can attack there. Give them a bit of a pushback. Okay, how goes our situation here? Okay, I want to take these two provinces because we'll then hold along the river a little better, I think. One of you support that attack, and the other and the Romanian cavalry division attack. You can support that attack. Well, I think on that we're going to end this episode. I want to thank you all for being here, and I especially want to thank Tim, Strongarm, Niagro, Timothy, Sir Toyjet, Gary, Garrett, Marcus, and Folk. Of course, the great Hoffmanator for support over on Patreon. But everybody else, just lick the like button. It's sort of tasty. Each video tastes different. So try that out. And, of course, if you're new around here, subscribe and post comments. I really appreciate that, and it helps the algorithm out. So if you do that, just say hi. Whatever, that's cool. Thank you so much. See you next time for more, yes, more Hearts of Iron. Okay, guys, let's see. We're going to save this. And I was thinking about another episode, but I think I'm just going to give myself a bit of a rest here. Leave people still wanting more. You know, at least I hope you want more. But this is fascinating. We're going to, pretty soon, I don't know if it's next week or the week after, I will just sort of start a fresh game and look around some of the changes they've made to the more updated Black Ice. But I do intend on continuing this. No, after last week, no, we're doing regular War Thunder tomorrow for sure, Arno, for sure. Regular War Thunder. We'll see about Enlisted sometime again, but it's going to be a week or two more before we do that. Okay, thanks, Beamslam. Yes, thanks, Beamslam. Arno, Igor, however, the new IKB, my good friend. Frog Eyes, thank you for hanging out with me. Who else recently? Polat might still be here. Thank you. Folk, yes, as I said before, thank you. Holiday Punch, thank you. Nazca, thank you. Thanks anybody else who's still hanging around in chat. I don't know if Strong Arm and whatnot are still here, but thanks everyone. Like saying we'll be back tomorrow. And I say will because I hope Arno and Strong Arm and others will join me in War Thunder. We'll be playing that tomorrow. So see you all then.